Welcome back to my channel. My name is Darlise, and today I wanted to discuss with you about toxic relationships, especially in high school, and how to be aware of the signs. Make sure you comment, like, and subscribe. Emma Walker was a cheerleader in Knoxville, Tennessee at Central High School. She was kind, compassionate, driven, and a little sassy. She had many friends and close loved ones. During her freshman year, she started dating a guy who was a junior, Riley Gall. They appeared to be the perfect couple. He was a football player and she was on the cheerleading team. Riley Gall was considered to be a golden boy. After Central High School, upon graduation, he attended Maryville College. And while attending Maryville College, he worked at the University of Tennessee at the Medical Center. Riley Gall also played on the football team as a wide receiver. He was considered one of the best in high school. And in fact, he ranked 43rd in his graduating class. So not only was he amazing on the field as a wide receiver, but he also succeeded academically in school. So Riley and Emma appeared to be this perfect couple. However, we're gonna reveal some layers about what really happened. In 2015, they actually broke up and he decided to go back with his ex-girlfriend. And during this time, Riley and Emma were on and off, so much so that he was playing them both, that Emma would often get in arguments with him through phone calls, text messages, in front of friends, as well as family members. This toxic relationship began to grow more and more, and it expanded for more than 2 years. In 2016, Riley was graduating from Central High School and getting ready to attend Maryville College. This was the perfect opportunity for Emma to finally get a fresh new start over, let go of the toxic relationship. Yet, in fact, she still continued to be in this relationship. Think about it. This probably was her first love. She probably didn't want to let it go. She probably really truly had feelings for him, but he took advantage of those things. Emma was only 16 when Riley had graduated from high school and he was 18. So during these 2 years of Emma and Riley's relationship becoming more and more toxic, her parents took notice that their daughter was not the same anymore. Her attitude began to change, her confidence began to decrease. So they got involved and decided to step in and say, enough is enough. They even took her phone in order for her to come to grips, to understand her self-worth, and finally let go of the relationship. However, Riley ended up buying her an iPod Touch where she could communicate and contact him through the Wi-Fi. And I think a lot of parents probably don't know this, but if you turn off the phone of, let's say, your child's phone contacts, they can still get access through the iPad of creating a phone number through an app. They can text off their Apple Watch. They can text through email. So the communication never, ever stops, especially in the day of technology. So with the case of Riley and Emma, even though her parents actually took her phone from her, she still was communicating with Riley through an iPod Touch. If that doesn't tell you how much of a hold that Riley had on her emotionally, I don't know what else to say. Also, the unfortunate thing about it was that even though they couldn't get grips on Emma's parents actually reached out to Riley's parents and discussed the ordeal of this toxic relationship, about how their daughter was changing, about how Riley had this hold on her, and that they needed to separate in order to find themselves. She was only 16. He was 18. However, his parents did not take it seriously at all. Also, Emma's parents had noticed some of the text messages Riley was sending to her, as well as Snapchat messages. And if you don't know anything about Snapchat, for the most part, whenever you open up a message, it deletes. But sometimes you can save it. And so I'm not sure in this particular case, but her parents were able to see the text messages, see the Snapchat messages, and found them very inappropriate. And when I say inappropriate, it was to a point where it was, if you don't stop talking to people, then I'm not gonna be with you anymore. Or I'm gonna end my life if I can't have you with me. You're nothing without me. You need me. I need you. This codependency, toxic relationship at such a young age. Now, as Riley was in college, Emma did decide to still be on and off with him. But as he was in college, she was able to gain a little bit of freedom, a little bit of independence, and most importantly, a little bit more confidence to understand her self-worth and what she should and should not put up with in a relationship. So she started back getting to her old self, and she started hanging out with her family and her friends more. In October 2016, Emma finally had enough. She ended up ending the relationship with Riley and texted him, "I am done for good." She finally put her foot down and said, "No more." However, Riley, good old Riley, stated, "I'm not accepting that." He refused to let go of Emma. He refused to let go of that codependency type of relationship. So even after Emma stated, "I am done for good," Riley did not take no for an answer. In fact, this motivated Kim even more not to let her go. He refused it completely. He constantly began texting even more, calling even more, being on social media, on Instagram, on Snapchat, constantly trying to get her attention, refusing the answer no. He wanted her back at all costs. He wanted her back, even if it meant something more sinister in the end. Emma broke off the relationship in October 16. However, by the time it was Halloween, things between Riley and her were starting to get a little bit more sinister. Emma decided after the football game that she would attend a sleepover. Well, at the sleepover, Emma started receiving phone calls, multiple phone calls, back to back to back. And the phone calls were private. Then she started to receive text messages that were even more odd and strange. Mind you, Emma is only 16 years old. In high school, that's probably sophomore, junior year, if that. The text message goes, "Go to your car with your keys. Go alone. I've got someone you love. If you don't comply, I will hurt them." So, not thinking nothing of it, she is honestly concerned, but also very suspicious about who could be sending her these outrageous texts in the middle of the night on Halloween. So at first, Emma did not take these text messages really serious, but then she got another text message that was even more murky than the first one she received. The next text message stated, "We have him now. If you don't care about him anymore, then it shouldn't bother you. Call the police and he dies. Your choice. If you'd like to hear his final screams, give me a call. He's in a ditch beside the house. It's a shame that all of a sudden you not value someone's life." Now, after being shaken up about this text message, as anyone would, she confided in her friends, and most importantly, the parents of whom she was staying at. So her friends decided to go outside with her to figure out what in the world was going on. And you know who happened to end up being in the ditch because they were kidnapped? You know who. It was Riley. Riley was the one lying in the ditch. And Riley claims that he had been kidnapped. This is not master manipulation 101. I don't know what else is. First, he gets into a relationship with a young girl, younger than him. He plays on her emotions, her feelings, and then when he realizes that he can't break her down emotionally, he tries to manipulate her and change the circumstances to see if she really will be there for him in these extreme cases. The next day, after Riley had been kidnapped, Emma noticed a strange man in all black walking in her neighborhood. So she decided, I'm just gonna go inside the house. Mind you, she was in the house all alone. Her parents weren't at home at the time. So she goes inside, locks the door. The strange man that ended up being in all black begins to bang on her door furiously, over and over. So at this moment, she's getting panicked. She's starting to scream. She doesn't know what to do. The first person that she calls for help is not 911. It's not her parents. You know who she called. It was Riley. She called Riley to comfort her. Even though Riley had comforted her in these strange, peculiar circumstances, she still did not give in to going back with him. So he ended up tweeting later on, "I'll do anything to get things back again." So just to replay the timeline of Emma and Riley's relationship. They had a toxic relationship for 2 years on and off. She cut it off in October. By Halloween, Riley's making these attempts to get back with her at all cost. November. So this is only maybe a month and a half or 2 months of them breaking up officially, of her not wanting him at all. November 2016, in the middle of the night, Emma's dad hears a shot. He wakes up, he checks all of the rooms, he sees that Emma is sleeping, so he thinks nothing of it and goes back to sleep. When Emma's mother wakes up in the morning to try to get Emma up for school, she's not responding at all. She's shaking her. She's trying to figure out what in the world is going on. Why won't my daughter wake up? When paramedics got there, they stated that she had passed away. Now, it was no forced entry into the house. And remember, the dad had stated that he heard a shot the night before. But nothing looked tainted or messed with in Emma's room or in the entire house. So people started to speculate that maybe Emma did something to herself to harm herself. Because what 16-year-old just automatically passes away in perfect good health? However, the only thing that looked suspicious in Emma's room was that there were 2 holes in Emma's walls. And Emma's mother didn't know where those 2 holes could have come from. So she dialed 911 to try to get a responder. Now, when the responders came, they had pronounced that she had passed away due to 2 shots being fired with a 9mm gun to the chest. The entire community of Knoxville, Tennessee were in mourning when they had found out that Emma Walker had been fatally killed in this manner. They could not believe that a 16-year-old's life was ended in this manner. The entire community of Knoxville, Tennessee were in great mourning when they found out that Emma Walker had passed away. Riley Gall was truly heartbroken when he found out that Emma had passed away as well. He had tweeted, "Living every day through Emma Walker. I love you, beautiful, and I know you're in a better place." Now, while the town was in mourning, the police were doing their due diligence in trying to figure out who could have possibly committed this horrendous crime to Emma Walker. And in fact, they had narrowed down on their number 1 suspect. And their number 1 suspect was stating their final plea that it almost sounded like it came from the Shakespeare play, Romeo and Juliet. It stated, before the arrest, "I love you, Emma. I can't be around any of that yet. It's too soon. I know I'm dying to be there, but understand I can't. I love you." This one person confessing their love, this number 1 suspect who ended Emma Walker's life, was Riley Gall. He was the one who ended her life. His main motive for committing this crime was that he just wanted to shoot into her room in order to save the day, be the hero, so that he could rekindle their relationship and finally, once and for all, get her back. Now, Riley ended up stealing his grandfather's pistol in order to commit this crime. Riley was also familiar with the home. He knew where her bedroom was. He knew what time she went to bed. He knew exactly where to shoot. And it ended up hitting her tragically. Now, when Riley was the major suspect in the crime, he had no criminal record, but he was trying to get rid of the weapon. So he confided in his friends to help him get rid of the weapon in the Tennessee River. However, thank goodness for the friends that he had, because they were secretly recording him and helping the police in taking him down and finally putting a stop to the madness. Riley was also found guilty of stalking, felony murder, tampering with evidence, theft of between $500 and $1,000, and possession of a firearm in a dangerous felony. So I think the biggest takeaway of this, especially in Riley's case, in your attempt to try to get the love of your life back, ultimately, you ruined yours. Was it worth it to let everything go in the last attempt to try to get this person back? Sometimes with relationships, you just have to learn how to let it go. Everything happens for a reason. Emma wanted to live her life and be the best person that she could. She wanted to grow. She wanted to love someone who truly loved her back. It's unfortunate that her life had to be ended in this circumstance. It did not have to get to this point. And as for Riley, he ended up being guilty on first-degree murder. He is sentenced to 51 years in prison. He will not be out of jail until the age of 71. So with this case of Emma Walker and Riley Gall, the biggest thing to take away is to most importantly love yourself. If you love yourself, you know the true value of loving someone else. You know the true value of not putting up with certain things and letting it get this far. The second thing I think we need to take away from this case is that Riley, there was a trigger in him even before Emma. And I know people don't want to discuss this, and it could be alleged, but we have to think deeper. Was there some mental health going on? Because if it didn't happen to Emma, it probably was bound to happen to someone. He probably had this obsessive behavior previously that he did not know how to handle. But yet Emma was the one that suffered under him because he couldn't find the help. And as far as with Emma, it's so sad that her life had to be ended at just the age of 16. But what I want to tell high school girls, do not get super involved in a relationship at that young age. Live your life. Focus on your studies. Trust in your parents when they tell you if a relationship is not good for you or the time in your life right now. Because I know sometimes we think parents don't know anything, they're old, but your parents were once high school children. They were once in your shoes. They had the keychain, the t-shirt, and the jacket. They've been there. So trust them when they tell you no, and it's not the right time. I hope you all were able to take something away from this case that's positive and also awareness. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time.